the lead story should be the Nuggets advancing or the possibility of LeBron James retiring.
If you say anything but the Nuggets advancing, you've got a swath of middle America coming after you for the disrespect that's been shown the Nuggets. But when you have arguably the greatest player of all time dropping the most significant hints about his future, not including basketball, that has to be the main story. And I was in, as you said, Dan, I was at the arena last night. I listened to Darvin Ham speak first, then I went over to the Nuggets side to report out some stuff on them. But I was watching on my phone the LeBron availability, and from the very beginning, it had a very strange vibe to it because he was asked by multiple reporters about next season, what the roster needed. And a couple of times he just wouldn't delve deep into the future of this team, the future of himself. And then at the very end of that media availability, kind of unprompted, he says, I've got a lot to think about this offseason. So, this was LeBron wanting to put this out there, wanting to convey this message during this media availability. And look, what it means is certainly open to interpretation. This was probably the most draining season of LeBron James's career. When you factor in his age, when you factor in the mental toll it had to have taken on him early in the season to be going through all this stuff with Russell Westbrook and the dysfunction of the team. And then you have one of the only major injuries that LeBron suffered during his career. And then you have to factor in the minutes he's playing that just physically wears him down. So it could just be, Dan, that he was exhausted physically and said what he said because of that. Or, as we've often seen with LeBron, it could be a leverage play. It could be him, putting this into the universe to put pressure on the Lakers to do exactly what he wants them to do this offseason to make the team better, or else he'll walk away.
Yeah, but didn't we have this last year when he had a leverage play and he brought in Russell Westbrook? Now it's Kyrie Irving?
Maybe. I mean, look, one of the biggest surprises in recent memory for LeBron was that he signed that extension last summer. Like, there was no need for him to sign that extension. Like, a 1-year extension was always going to be available to him. I understand the rationale. By signing that extension, he took the topic of him leaving in the offseason off the table. And that, in theory at the time, eliminated a potential distraction. But he didn't need to do it, and it was a surprise that he did it. He's always been about leverage, Dan, whether it was in Cleveland, signing all those 1-year deals, signing the short-term deal with the Lakers more recently. This could just be that. Like, he's always been able to use his power to get what he wants out of an organization. You're right. It was Russell Westbrook a couple of years ago. That, absolutely, was a disaster. But if LeBron feels like he can't do it without a true, reliable second star, and look, we can debate the reliability of Kyrie Irving all day long, but if LeBron feels he can't do it without Kyrie Irving, there's some value in putting it into the universe that he could walk away.
Yeah, there's nothing that's accidental with LeBron. It's all calculated. I just don't know what the angle is, but it certainly felt like, and there's frustration, but I think deep down knew they weren't going to win this series. So he was going to have this moment with the media and decided to, drop that off for everybody. So he stays in the news for whatever reason, but he wants to play with his son. He's made that very public. I don't know if he could take a year off and then say, you know what, I'll be re-energized and wait for my son to get into the NBA.
I mean, he could. I mean, if he took a year off and just spent it hanging out on USC's campus, watching Bronny play, and then decided he wanted to come back in 24, 25, all 30 teams would line up to sign him. But look, at the end of the day, Dan, LeBron is one of the most competitive guys I've ever covered. And he's coming off a game that I thought was one of the great games that he's played in his career. He ran out of gas in the second half, but 31 points in the first half was remarkable.
Yeah.
You watch him in the fourth quarter. He's chasing Jamal Murray around screens. He's bodying up Nikola Jokic defensively. He took back-to-back charges in that fourth quarter against Nikola Jokic to give the Lakers a chance at the end of that game. No, he's not 25, 30-year-old version of LeBron James, but he's still top 10 in the NBA, top 15 in the NBA. And when he dials it up, he can get right back into that top 5 conversation. I just have a hard time seeing a player like LeBron with his mentality walking away when he's still able to play at the high level. That's why I think it's more likely either a reaction to just an exhausting mentally and physically season and a potential leverage play to push the Lakers to do what he wants.